I call to order the Catawba County Board of Education January 27th, 2025 school board meeting. Up first, if you'd stand with me to have a moment of silence. And then our presentation of colors by St. Stephen's High School, Navy JORTC.
I'm just going to introduce her real fast. Again, here, that she's working. She's a senior in high school. She's been doing this all 4 years of high school. She's enlisted in the Navy and will go to boot camp this summer. Next to her is Chief Cadet Chavez. He's a senior in high school. He's been doing this all 4 years as well. And he also is enlisted in the Navy. He wants to be a police officer for the Navy. Next to him, carrying the Navy colors here, is Cadet Seaman Bowman. This is his first year doing this. He's a sophomore in high school. Outstanding young man. He's got a bright future. He wants to go to the Air Force Academy. I think he wants to fly jets for a minute. And then last but certainly not least, I have Cadet Petty Officer Dolan here. She's also a sophomore, but this is her second year doing this. She's got a bright future ahead of her. She would like to be a firefighter one day. All four of these people participated in the orienteering regional championships that we just had, in which St. Stephen's is going to represent North Carolina and South Carolina at nationals. Very excited. All these young ladies and gentlemen have a very bright future ahead of them. And again, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity to show them up. And look forward to doing this.
Okay. Okay. Done. Right. Face. Harry. Coach. Face. Up. Forward. Touch.
First off will be the approval of the minutes from November 25th and December 2nd of both of 2024. Everyone should have had an opportunity to look over the minutes for both of those. Is there any discussion? None. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes for November 25th and December 2nd of 2024?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If there is none, I'll raise of hands for the approval. That is unanimous. Next up is the adjustment approval of the agenda.
Sir, Karen, members of the board, two changes, I'm sorry. The first one is we want to add the proposed course additions to Fred T. Ford High School, we did some before, we heard this morning, and then the second one is correction of new business number 8. Could just read differently and add level 3 alcohol testing. That's all we have.
You've all heard the adjustment or approval of the agenda. All right, I think a motion to add the 34 high school to new business and the correction of new business number 8.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any further discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. That is approval. Unanimous approval. Our next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Over.
Thank you.
Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board. Great news for you all, as I know we have new members of the board, but one of the things we've done in Catawba County for several years is we love to highlight our employees, our students. We have a number of people to highlight tonight. So put your standing shoes on. We're going to go out front because we've got a lot of folks to shake hands with and get pictures with. And I'm going to go over those. So meet me out front. Not out of the building, just in front of here. All right, I'm looking around. Is Miss Chastity Bolch around? Let's start with her. Is she here? She may not have been able to come. Because I don't see her in here. Is she coming? Okay. All right. So Miss Chastity Bolch is our assistant principal at Arndt Middle School. And come to find out, she's known this for a couple of years, but been waiting on the official confirmation. But Mrs. Bolch has recently received the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. And only 336 teachers get this award a year. And she gets to visit the White House, and she's on their website, so it must be official. It's actually a delay from, what'd you say, 2020? 2021. And they said, Ms. Bolch, if you get called about an FBI background check, you're going to win. Well, that was about 2022, wasn't it? Yes. So she's been waiting. Looks like her administrators have joined her tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Let's give a big round of applause for Ms. Chastity Bolch. I probably should have mentioned too, I think she gets 10,000 American dollars with that. So that's fantastic.
Did they have the opportunity to not clean?
Yeah, it was. All right, so now we're going to move into our employees of the month. Our administrator of the month couldn't be here tonight. We'll have her come next. She's actually an 8th grade orientation. Our administrator of the month is from Fred T. Ford High School, assistant principal Lindsay Farnsworth, but we're going to get her in person next month. Also, too, Mr. Geddes is here. He represents Home for Heroes. He is our sponsor. Mr. Geddes, I apologize. So we want to thank you for the plaques. They get a gift card and a plaque, and of course, get acknowledged and some screen time too. So that's fun. They love that. All right, so our certified employee of the month is our kindergarten teacher from Maiden Elementary School. And like I said, like mother, like daughter, her mom's been the teacher of the month for us here in Catawba County Schools. Everybody, let's give a big round of applause to Miss Stacy Talent. Just get your stuff. Miss Talent is a kindergarten teacher and does an exceptional job with relationships with students, is a teacher leader, and met her when she was student teaching. And boy, we're thankful to have her. Next on the list is our classified employee of the month from Mountain View Elementary School, Miss Trish Robinson. She is our bus driver and teacher assistant. Coming up, Miss Robinson. So I want to just tell you about Miss Robinson. This last month, we probably should have given this to every bus driver. It's been 0 degrees every morning. And but not only that, though, when I went into the classroom, bus driving is obviously a big deal. But that's only one piece of her job. She was teaching literacy with our students in a small group. And that's invaluable. Just ask her cooperating teacher. I'm sure that they're thankful for that. Miss Robinson, thanks for all the bus routes, the cold and the warm. And thank you for teaching literacy to our students. We're very thankful. All right, let's give them another round of applause.
Everybody up here? Stand down, please.
All right, everybody, this is a long list, and I'm so thankful for these folks. So, Catawba County Schools, I won't have, Catawba County Schools is a lot more than teaching and learning, as you all know. We protect kids every day. Our staff's well-trained, and I'm about ready to honor 4 different schools that saved 4 different lives in the last 3 months. And it has absolutely been incredible. I want to thank our health department, our nurses, our SROs, our teachers, and our teacher assistants, our custodians, our administrators who have all sorts of training for life-saving techniques. And you never think you're going to have to use them. And we all complain when we got to go. And then we save the kids. Great job. Thankful for you. So let's start with Mill Creek Middle School. Miss Chelsea Morgan and Miss Holly Jenkins are here. And Mr. Miller's going to help me hand out certificates. But Miss Morgan performed the Heimlich on a choking student after it was recognized from another staff member that they needed an emergency. They called the MERT team. Nurse Holly and the others arrived on the scene. And now we still have a student who is thriving at Mill Creek Middle School. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, St. Stephen's Elementary School. Picture it 2024 November. We had several of members of our staff assisted a staff member who went into cardiac arrest, which included CPR, 911, and our handheld devices. And got an email from the staff member just the other week. Said they were just so thankful to be back in school because of this group that went against the wall back there. It's not a mug shot. It is a celebration. So I'm going to call them up one by one. Courtney Lanka, Caroline Ford, Melinda Flint, Danielle Kirby, Rhonda Tucker, Nurse Johnny, Rajonda, sorry. Save me. Heather Hughes, Laura Timblin, Beth Embry, and Matt Barham, who's not able to be with us tonight, our principal, our two assistant principals. Thank you, ladies. Excellent job. Let's give them a big round of applause. This right here. Okay. So also from St. Stephen's Elementary. So that's this group right here. Had another response group. That was the immediate response. Then we had our other response. And by the way, too, I know there's a lot of folks, but I hate to leave anyone out. So here we go. Miss Christy Wilson, Miss Gladys Aguirre, Miss Rebecca Pritchard, Miss Catherine Smith, Miss Angie Bustos, did I say that? Bustos, my apologies, and Eric Rosenberg. Please come on up as well. Also, we want to highlight our SROs that responded. Mr. Jody Grindstaff, Mr. Brandon Lackey, Mr. Eric Brown, and Wyatt French. Thank you all. Let's give them a big round of applause. Yeah. Eric, thank you. Thank you. All right, we have everyone there? Okay. Thank you all. That's great. A few more. It's well worth our time. I apologize. If you're watching on television, this is the good stuff. All right, Riverbend Middle School. And by the way, I find out about these things because they tell me they got to send a message home. No one ever calls to say, hey, I saved somebody's life today, right? Here's another one. So, Mr. Bird, who's our principal, successfully performed the Heimlich on a choking student. He was able to relieve the obstruction quickly, and medical emergency was diverted. Miss Emily Phipps, who is our nurse, worked with the student afterward and the parents to ensure that everything was okay. Thanks to Mr. Bird's quick reaction, his life-saving skills, and our nurse, with her expertise, we saved another life. Thank you all, Mr. Bird. Miss Phipps, come on up. We're good. You sure? Also, to our nurses from the health department, would you all please stand up, please? Director, everybody. I'd like you to come up, too, if you don't mind. They didn't know I was going to do this, but y'all are great. These are the head of all our nurses. You guys do a wonderful job. Thank you all. One last round of applause. Thank you, guys. Let's go backwards. We'll do Riverbend first, and then we'll do Mill Creek next. And I see SSES.
Riverbend first, if you would go ahead and get in there.
I'm coming. Yeah, I want to.
Are you here? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. Feel great. Thank you guys. Great job. Are you here? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. All right, who's next? That's it. We've had a wrestling team in here before with 30 kids. I think we'll be all right. All right.
I must be on it. All right, everybody up here? Count down, 3, 2. Go ahead and hold it in front of you. That'd be great. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Great job.
And last but not least, thank y'all. Great job. We have, this is our Board Appreciation Month. So I know y'all didn't know this, but we want to thank you for your service. Some of you are new. We thank you for your future service. And those of you who have been here, we thank you for all you've done. I know our schools have a lot of appreciation for y'all. I know you got some swag bags today from our schools. I want to thank our schools for that. But let's give our round of our Board of Education round of applause. Thank y'all, and that's it.
We are now at the public comment section of the agenda, and that'll be handled by the Vice Chair Clayton Mullis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Catawba County Board of Education appreciates and welcomes all public comments. Members of the public who have signed up to speak may address board members on any topic of concern during the public comment section of a regular meeting. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address Catawba County Board of Education members. A time clock will be displayed to assist each speaker with their 3-minute time limit. Speakers should direct comments to board members rather than to the audience. Comments by members of the public should be respectful without slander toward any other member of the public, community member or members, or any member of the Catawba County Board of Education. Any displays of approval or disapproval are out of order unless otherwise directed by the board chair. On our list tonight, our first person that has signed up to speak is Dr. Kimberly Turk.
Thank you. I have provided a handout that was recently provided to us at my high school that deals with employee responsibilities, specifically extracurricular responsibilities. And if you'll flip to the second page, I have highlighted the section that I found most interesting. And that is the expectations for us outside of our instructional duties. And if you'll see, there's a listing there that says supervising student clubs that meet outside the regular school day, coaching athletic teams, cheerleaders, assisting with events held outside of the regular school day, such as working gate concessions and athletic events, and supervising the prom, and being a faculty sponsor for clubs. When this was handed out to us, I found it interesting that the things off this list that are required for my high school are working either the winter dance or prom. Since I have a homeroom that is juniors and I teach mostly juniors and seniors, I picked prom. And we're also required to do 3 gate duties a year. If we choose to do any additional gate duties, which is taking up money at athletic events, we can earn comp time. So those are the only things off of this list that are set forward to us as a outside of school responsibility. The other things on that list are things that we can choose to do. If we choose to coach an athletic team or the cheerleaders, we are compensated for that financially. That leaves the only thing left on this list being a faculty sponsor for a student club. And that does not get you any financial compensation or comp time. I know the school system does not have the money to pay for that, but I do feel like if we can get comp time for working gate duties, we should be able to get comp time for being a faculty advisor. Being involved in the school community keeps our students involved. They are more likely to graduate. they have higher grades, and they become a better community member. We also know that they need those things on their applications when they're applying to college. But that means that you have to have teachers who are willing to lead those groups, stay after school for several hours, and take trips with these students. And I really hope that we will look at everything on this list in some way being acknowledged and compensated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Turk. Next person signed up, I can't make the last name out, is the first name Kathy? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Next person on the list is Mr. Charlie Shepard.
Hello, and thank you. Recently, it's been brought to everyone's attention that nations have borders for a reason, much like our homes. Homes have walls, doors that lock. They are there to keep some people out, others safely in. Our homes, at our home, we determine who we let in. Most of the time, there are people who share our values, or at a minimum, have no intention of harming us or undermining our core values. Unfortunately, I believe our public school systems, mostly unaware, have welcomed and more recently promoted toxic ideologies. Marxism, socialism, critical theory, DEI, and social emotional learning. Those are a few. These are discriminatory on their face and have been driven by liberal leftists in higher education. Their intention is to divide and cancel the culture that made us the envy of the world. Like the proverbial frog gradually boiling in the pot of water. My view is that when we took Christianity out, it left a void, and over the last 60 years, our own Department of Education has been the primary reason for the moral slide that's embedded these ideologies, not only in our curriculum, but in our culture. It's been a Trojan horse. It's child abuse. And when you've been in a system your whole life, you can become tone deaf and unable to see with perspective needed to make logical corrections. There are many well-meaning but deceived educators fully bought into the current system. And I know change comes hard, but it's good to see fresh eyes on our school board. Give it a fresh look, a new look, especially now. We're seeing common sense return to our federal government. This forces even ignorant people like myself to sit up and take a look. Now, when Donald Trump was elected this time, he came obviously prepared. He's ready to go. We're seeing that. I hope you're ready to go. We've got a lot of work to do, and we need to make some necessary changes, I believe. And we need to do it quickly, and so we can conform to our new federal mandates. And they're coming. They're coming fast and hard, and we depend on that for money.
Thank you, Mr. Shepard.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask for a point of clarification from the speaker. I'd like to ask him to cite his source and give us specific examples of how a toxic ideology is being promoted in Catawba County schools today.
It's pretty deep, but you have to look at the contractors we're using. And
I'm sorry, look at what?
the contractors we're using to get our curriculum. Social emotional learning.
Can you give us an example, please?
I'll be glad to, but I don't think I can do it right now.
Okay. I don't think any of us want a toxic ideology. I'm just not aware of any of that's going on in our school.
I'm sure of that. I think I touched on that, and I said when you've been in the system your whole life, you can become tone deaf and unable to see perspective needed to make logical corrections. And I think that's where we're at.
That's why I'm asking for
We've
specifics
been
from you.
blinded by 60 years of it. And many people are tired of it. I'm one.
Mr. Chairman, shall we have Mr. Shepherd just repeat his 3 minutes, or? I still didn't hear any specifics.
You have specifics, Mr. Shepherd, if you could email those to the board, that would be fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Next speaker is Lawrence Wiedemann.
Good evening. We have 3 new school board members. Congratulations. I have a picture of the 3 of you with a sign saying, "Stop the woke agenda," when you were campaigning. And I gotta ask, do y'all even know understand what woke means? I'm thinking not, so allow me to educate you a little bit here. Woke is situational awareness that sometimes the color of your skin matters in a critical, life-altering kind of way. For example, when I was younger and stupider, I lived in South Central Los Angeles and drove around in a convertible with the top down, completely oblivious to my surroundings. Then on April 29th, 1992, the Los Angeles riot happened. And it was just dumb luck that I didn't drive through the intersection of Florence and Normandy, where I would have been yanked out of my car and had the crap eaten out of me for the sin of being white in a black neighborhood on a bad day. I became woke. I started paying attention to my surroundings. I started paying attention to the news. I started thinking about how the color of my skin would affect my life. Being woke is being smart. And it seems to me smart and educated are good things. Now, y'all effectively ran on a stop being smart platform. The reality of life is fear, ignorance, and xenophobia get you elected. Honor, integrity, wisdom, maybe not so much. Mr. Goforth actively campaigned on stopping critical race theory from being taught in the school system. A couple years back, House Bill 187 was passed specifically to address this type of concern. I challenge Mr. Goforth to produce evidence that any CRT, contrary to House Bill 187, was being taught within the school system. He delivered exactly 0. Now, why do you think that is? How about because there aren't any? It's not happening. He ran on fixing a platform that doesn't exist. He used fear and ignorance to help him win the election. All right, we got to move on. You're on the school board. How do we move forward? I'm going to suggest that y'all start by doing your homework and use educated opinions and facts to address real problems instead of hyperbolic, incendiary fiction to address imaginary problems. What do you think? As members of the school board, make an effort to be educated with truth, honesty, and facts used to guide your decisions. Is that too big of an ask? Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wiedemann.
Next up is Mr. Michael McLam.
All right, good evening, Chair Sotomayor, members of the board. I enjoy observing your work sessions. I think it's great. I gain a lot of clarity on the issues affecting this school district. I'm here tonight speaking to provide 3 comments regarding topics discussed today. The first, committees. I appreciated the discussion on forming committees. I think it's great. This board wants to be hands-on and engaged. I support all of the committees this board wants to form. 2, public comments. I think it's a fine idea to offer the public an advance and online sign-up option. I also think the paper sign-up sheet just outside the door should remain. Further, borrowing from the Hickory City Council, I believe it would be appropriate for the chair, or in this case maybe the vice chair, to call for public comments right from the floor. All of this is to say, I think the more opportunities the public has to communicate with this body, the better the board and the district will become. Third, funding. I applaud the work being done here communicating the district's needs with our county commissioners and our General Assembly representatives. We all recognize Catawba County Schools is in dire need of new and improved facilities. But beyond facilities, more money needs to go towards curriculum and general school supplies. Further, teacher pay desperately needs to be increased. Teachers are educated, licensed, and trained professionals. They're also overworked and underpaid. They deserve so much more. I hope this board takes every opportunity to travel to Raleigh this year and advocate for our schools, teachers, and students during the General Assembly's budget deliberations. The same goes for you, this body, and our county commissioners. As you know, the legislature and the county commissioners have a lot of power in North Carolina. They can provide the foundation to allow you to fix these issues if they choose to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McNeil.
Our next speaker is Jeremy Williamson.
How are y'all? I'm not here to challenge any part of you. I have a few questions I need answered. In our school systems, my son just got transferred to an alternative school, and we can't get bus drivers. We literally cannot get bus drivers. Last week, 3 days of the school week, we didn't have a bus driver. Literally did not have a bus driver. Who do I need to talk to, or where do I need to go to help the school? These people are defeated. Like, they don't know what to do. An average workday for like the bus driver on on this route that my son's on, it has to be at least a minimum of 14-hour day. And I don't know if they pay salary. I don't know if y'all pay hourly, but I mean, you just have to find a complete and total idiot to do this. You know, I mean, honestly, it's literally that far. I mean, the morning route is 3 hours. The evening route's 3 hours. And then they're at school all day doing their double duty, whatever that is, where they have to be one or the other, okay? Be it in a kitchen or pushing a broom. I'm really confused in how this works, because they can't keep anybody doing it, okay? Now, I understand that these kids are like land of the misfit toys or something, you know, they're kind of pushed back, but at the end of the day, they still deserve to be able to get to school and get home, you know? So I don't know where else to go. I've called everybody I could call, and I'm not getting anywhere. Like, people just push it over like it's somebody else. But it's our kids, regardless, and we're not getting the job done. So after this is over, however it works, I need to find whoever I need to talk to help get them a bus driver. I mean, this is ridiculous. They're missing two. It's like, how do you just don't have bus drivers? How do you not have backups? How do you not have what it takes to get these kids to school and home? They don't have it. So somebody somewhere above my pay grade is failing miserably. And I challenge you guys to help fix it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, a point of clarification, could we get Mr. Williamson's school so we could respond?
What is broke? My son just got transferred.
CREC in Catawba. Okay. So we can get someone in touch with you to see what's happening.
Like I said, it's not. Principal and can't find anybody. Nobody's want to do that job. Or just pay me money. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you all sign up to do it. 14, 15 hours a day, and have to deal with kids on top of that.
Yeah.
Let's face it, they're not the easiest thing in the world to deal with, especially for 15 hours, you know?
I'm sure Mr. Settlemeyer or Dr. Stover, our chairman or superintendent, will help you.
Well, I mean, maybe if I bring you guys to where you're truly aware of what's going on. This morning, without a call, without anything, another day, no bus. It's cool. I have worked for a living, my own business, living job, on land there, so my business is there, okay? I pay my taxes, but I'm not getting the one little thing that I want. You know, just my kid picked up, take to school, and brought back, you know, 4 days a week, but, you know, the fifth day, they don't have enough staff to run the fifth day of school. So they do it remote, or they go on field trips or whatever. So it's a good program, but it's a little sad way to get around.
Coming to get your information, and we'll be in touch with you. And I like your shirt too.
This was not on purpose. I got off work and came here because this is where I got off work. I had knee surgery Friday, so I just had it done. So this I'll be here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you all.
Next speaker is Julia. Can you pronounce your last name? Okay.
Good evening, board chairperson, assistant chairperson, Dr. Stover, everyone. My name is Julia LaRochelle. I am some of you I've met, but just wanted to introduce myself, let you know who I was and why I come to all the board meetings. I try to speak at most of them, but this is my 30th year teaching. I am a fourth grade teacher now at Snow Creek Elementary, and I'm the president of our local Catawba County Association of Educators. So what I wanted to speak about is I know that there have been numerous surveys gone out about our calendar, and I'm sure you have heard a lot of different responses from elementary to high school, and whichever you pick is what you pick. However, I did want you to be aware of our attendance policy. We have an attendance policy. However, as of right now, it does not include for elementary. It includes nothing about excused absences, and they can have up to as many excused absences or tardies, versus in the policy, it talks about if you have unexcused absences and there are letters that go home, and then when we get to a certain number, the social worker becomes involved, and that's great. However, in elementary school, we have, and this is not just from my school, but from all schools across the county, we have surveyed, and a lot of elementary schools are very frustrated because a parent can say that their child was sick and they could miss 50, 60 days of school. And there is nothing that we, our administration, or the county can do about it, because in our policy, it does not refer to excused absences. And if there's a child who's missing that many days of school, we need to figure out what medical condition the child has and see if we can assist the family or do what we need. However, no social worker will get involved if they're excused. So, and tardies. We have numerous tardies. And when they miss, especially in the upper grades, when we switch classes, they are missing an entire period when they are an hour tardy. So they are, say they have math first period. They're missing math over and over and over. And we are seeing more gaps due to the increasing of tardies and our excused absences. So I know former board members, you have discussed it at some point, but I would just encourage and urge you to discuss it further.
Thank you, and I was going to bring up that point, and I think it's Mr. Miller now on how we're going to wrap this up and send it out back out to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last speaker is Aaron Schermeyer.
So thank you, board, for allowing me to speak. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. I am Erin Schermeyer. I'm a proud product of Catawba County Schools. I attended Catawba County Schools from kindergarten until I graduated high school. I started out at Clyde Campbell Elementary, graduated St. Stephen's High School. And I know the excellent education that Catawba County Schools can provide. And I urge you to make sure that our school system continues to live up to that excellent education standard. So I know that all of you on the board have a vision for where you want our schools to go and what you would like them to be. And I do want to remind you that you serve all of our students, teachers, staff, and community, not just the white ones, not just the Christian ones, not just the straight ones. You serve all of them, the ones that are every race, every socioeconomic status, every belief system. You serve all of them. Whether you choose to acknowledge that or not, whether you like it or not, you are here for all of them. You are one of the main people responsible for ensuring that they have a great education. So, and speaking of that, our schools deserve to have adequate funding for staffing, supplies, maintenance, and extra programs. You heard many of our excellent teachers and staff be recognized tonight. To continue to recruit that level of excellence, we need to make sure the community knows that we value our teachers and staff. One of the ways we do that is providing them with good salaries, providing them with good benefits. Not doing things like having 5 bajillion book challenges. That makes our county look bad. I work in a neighboring county, and I've heard from people in that county that they wouldn't send their kid to Catawba County schools because we've had those book challenges. And that's embarrassing. I don't want to see that happen anymore with our county. I want to see us be able to recruit the best and the brightest. So another thing that we have really going for us is that we have a lot of robust arts programs and a very popular language immersion program. Continue supporting those. Those do draw people in. Arts are important. Every child deserves to have a chance to succeed in school. And for some kids, arts is the only place that is. So continue supporting opportunities for field trips. Not every kid can afford to go to the science center. But if there's a field trip, they get to go and enjoy science there. And it makes science fun in a way that it can't be in a classroom. So when we maintain high quality programs like those, it makes our district more attractive to prospective employees. Additionally, every student and staff member needs to be able to feel safe at school. They deserve that. So we need to continue having strong anti-bullying programs and efforts to make all students and all teachers and staff feel welcome and able to succeed, especially those from marginalized groups. So you represent our school system now. You have to do better. You are the face of the school system in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schermeyer. And just to your point about better pay and things like that, and to you, Mr. McLam, we have, as a board, sent a letter to our state elected officials asking for better teacher pay and increases and things like that. So hopefully that'll go somewhere for us. All right, the next thing on our agenda for tonight is consent items. And Dr. Spoon.
Right, Chairman Stelmeyer, members of the board, in front of you are our consent items. We are asking for your approval this evening.
I'm sorry. I would just draw your attention, our new board members at the back in consent 5. Most of everything in there is administrivia and all the, nuts and bolts. But number 5 is something that we're very thankful for, and we try to notify you all of, and that's donations to our schools. We have, as you all know, we have so many folks who donate time, money, and effort. And so consent 5 is us accepting those donations on the board's behalf. So just a point of interest I thought I would point out to you all.
Are there any questions regarding the consent items? Not, would someone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve the consent items as presented.
I second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raised hands. Unanimous. Next item is new business. Approval of 2025 capital outlay request for Catawba County Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, in front of you is our list of site and description critical needs as well as school-specific needs for the capital outlay request to the Catawba County Commission for the 25-26 school year. And I would seek your approval of this list, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the capital outlay as it was presented to us this morning. We went through it pretty extensively with Mr. Moore and talked about the addition to the theatrical lighting at Maiden High School and the roofing at Arndt and the greenhouse. We had that presented to us this morning, the greenhouse at Maiden as well.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Moore, I just got one comment, just so that the public's aware. Appreciate you putting this together, but also to let people know that with the McKissick study, that's why the bigger ticket items or bigger projects are separate, and that we're working on that. Hopefully have a great plan. So I thank you for all your hard work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Show approval by raised hand. That's unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the 2025-2026 current local expense request. Dr. Stover.
All right, I'm going to limp through this for y'all. Obviously, Miss Carla Aldridge, she was able to put this together before she left. Miss Angie Davis is starting Monday. So what I was thinking about is anything in there that looks, two things I want to say is first is the budget request is very similar to last year. We didn't ask for any increased local funding for local supplement this year because of the capital needs coming forward. However, that's not something that, if that's something you still would like to, look at, we still could. And secondarily, when Miss Davis gets here on Monday, we're going to dive into it more specifically. And so anything that you see or would like to be adjusted, we can come back in February. Okay, so what you see in front of you is our typical quote unquote, but I don't want there to be typical for you all. So whatever you all would want to add or have suggestions, I'd still like to give you the month of February after Miss Davis gets here and is able to get her feet on the ground, if that's all right with you folks.
We need to vote on that.
Well, I'd just like to table it, or
You don't want
or do you want to vote to table it, or?
you need, if you're going to table it, you need a motion to table it.
Yeah. Or we could approve it the way it is and then come back with extra. That's up to you all.
That's what
I just don't want to put y'all in a place where you don't have input. And I'm not in a position where I can explain some of those line items. Just be quite honest with you that Ms. Davis and I have to get together and go over a few things.
So if you don't.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve it tonight. We have. Okay. So we didn't, it was not on for approval tonight after all.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to approve it because it has to go to the council. I make the motion that we approve it. I was going to say if Ms. Aldridge, who's been our chief financial officer, prepared it for us, we've done this each month. I'm sure it'll be good till Ms. Davis gets here.
I just would I'd like to add to that. I'm so sorry. So yes, the county needs, but I talked to Mary today and she knows that we're in between finance officers. So anything that needs to be tweaked or anything, they get it 3 months in advance. So there is time, right? This is just their request to get it now, but they're very good to work with, especially in the midst of the transition. So certainly, again, I want to make sure you all feel comfortable after we have the basics to work out anything you all need.
Do you want to make a motion to that, but maybe specify that we can change it if necessary?
I will. If necessary, it sounds like we could do that next month anyway, if needed.
Absolutely.
So I'll entertain a motion at this time. You've already made the motion. You just want to, we need a second. now.
I'll second.
Okay. Ms. Teague seconded the motion. Dr. Barnett. If we got a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, a show of hands for approval. That's unanimous.
Thank you all.
Next up is approval of bid for HVAC equipment at Startown Elementary by Mr. Dan Moore.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stover, I have a bid summary for 500th hallway HVAC work at Startown Elementary School.
The apparent low bidder is Jim Air of Hickory with a total bid of $76,708.30. This equipment is warranted for 5 years, and the compressors on each of the mini splits are warranted for 7 years. I would seek your approval and would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Are there any questions for Mr. Moore on this? If not, I seek a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If there is none, a show of hands for approval.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the 2025-2026 proposed course addition at Landis High School, Fred T. Ford High School, Maiden High School, and St. Stephen's High School by Mr. Lee Miller.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemyre, board members. Dr. Eisenhower presented today the course Sports and Event Marketing 3 that we would like to add for our course selection for the high schools that Mr. Settlemyre mentioned. This course is being offered in several other districts across the state already. And we already have the level 2 course in some of our schools. This would just be adding the level 3 course. It will be an inherently honors course because the level 2 course is already honors as well. So we're just seeking your approval to add this course for our student selection.
You've heard Mr. Miller's presentation, and we went over this thoroughly this morning. Are there any questions? I seek a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Show of hands for approval. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of the 2025-2026 school calendar draft for Catawba County Schools. Ray Thompson.
Thank you, board members. Made adjustments, as we discussed in the work session today, to the 166-day calendar by adding an additional workday in September for all employees on September 26th. That reduces our student days to 165. So you'll see that reflected there. Mr. Mullis, I marked the start of each semester as requested, and we have kept the 10th as an optional teacher workday for all faculty and students. So that brings us to 165 total student days, with a split of 77 days first semester and 88 days second semester.
And just to summarize, this calendar starts for students on August 25th, has exams before Christmas. It's pretty typical of what we've had this year. It ends before May. It ends on May 22nd. That we moved. We put a work day in on November 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you added an all-school work day on September 25th, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. The
Just to
25th
summarize.
would be the elementary only workday.
And we added the 25th for all schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve that calendar that she's presented to us. It had the most, had the data that supported it among our students, or among our staff and community.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not, I seek approval by a raise of hands. That's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Next is approval of an easement extension with William Mackey by Crystal Davis.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you a proposed easement from Mr. William Mackey for the purpose of, oh, here it is, allowing us to access sewer line over his property. We have done business with Mr. Mackey. I'm trying to think, it might have been before then, but at least since 2010. And Mr. Moore, if you want to weigh in a little bit, we have been promised a solution by the county. Again, years ago, it was projected to have this situation to have rectified itself through county efforts, but it has not. So we, thank goodness, we've had this partnership with Mr. Mackey. I will tell you that in 2010, the amount he charged the school system for access over this easement was $700. That was 2010, a year. And now it has only increased since that time. That's at least 15 years to, what is it, 2015. So he has been very easy to work with. He's quite an interesting person. We are asking that this agreement be renewed. There is, for the next 5 years, there are provisions within the easement that allows, if we are provided relief by the county through through a sewer system in that regard, then we are entitled to terminate the agreement. Not that it's very expensive anyway, but that is the substance of this agreement. It's my recommendation that the board renew it for another 5 years. Do you have any questions about it? In 2010, he charged $700 a year. It's only increased from that point. We've renewed it every 5 years, and I think now the charge is $1,015 a year. So, and he is literally given me justification for all that, which is cost of living adjustments. He's a brilliant man, and he, like I said, it's not just willy-nilly that he's charging. It's based upon legitimate facts that he's actually proposed. But this would last through December 31st, 2029.
Any further questions? I seek a motion to approve Prairie Sewer Line and easement between Catawba County Schools and
Make a motion, we approve.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I request of raised hands for approval. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is approval of amendments to deletion of Title IX policies by Ms. Crystal Davis.
Yep. So the first, number 7 on the agenda is relates specifically to Title IX policies. And I know we had a thorough, robust discussion in the work session regarding the current status of laws relating to Title IX. What these amendments to the policies would do, as we discussed, is put everything back into our policy as of the 2020 regulations, and any laws that were created, any case law that was actually interpreted those 2020 regulations, and then delete anything related to the 2024 regulations, which are now, which have been determined to be unconstitutional by the Kansas court, and they've been invalidated. So that's what 1 through 5 under number 7 would accomplish. If there are any proposed changes to those, I would ask that the board specifically state what the motion to approve is going to include. So I'll be sure to get it right.
We want to go ahead and do number 8 as well. Do you want to do 7 separate? Is that okay? You want to
Yeah,
go
we
ahead
can do-
and
yeah,
move
go ahead and
forward with
go.
approval
Yep.
of proposal amendments to Catawba County
Yep,
School Board of
and so-
Education policies.
With regard to number 8, we'll do all these together. I reviewed the proposed amendments to Board of Education policies, which are listed 5.0200, visitors to the schools 6.1400, student wellness, 7.1200, code of ethics for educators, 7.4875, drug-free and alcohol testing of commercial vehicle operators, the deletion of the old 7.4875, drug and alcohol testing, 7.4890, leave of absence amendments, and 7.1900-5.0700, public records retention. So we're asking for approval of those amendments as well, or deletions as identified.
Okay, as you said, we talked about these this morning in our work session. Are there any further questions? If not, I seek a motion to approve all policies as stated.
Make a motion.
A second.
Had a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not, show of raised hands for approval. That is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is approval of personnel recommendations. And do you want to go ahead and do the amendment? And approval of amendments to personnel recommendations. And I know that Dr. Barnett requests to be recused.
Ms. McCrary is.
Okay. Start with all them and then.
Sure. Guess there'll have to be a motion to recuse me.
I seek a motion to recuse Dr. Barnett from Alyssa McCrary for the personnel recommendations.
I make a motion to recuse Ms. Barnett from Melissa McQuarrie.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not. Approval by raised hand. Unanimous. All right, so I asked for approval of Alyssa McQuarrie.
A motion to approve Melissa McQuarrie.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, a raise of hands for approval. Okay. Sorry, this is my first time. I'll get better at this. All right, for everybody else on the sheet, is there a motion to approve?
Make the motion that we approve the personnel recommendations and the addendum other than Alyssa McCrary.
A second.
Had a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, I seek a raised hand for approval. That is unanimous. That concludes the agenda for January 27th, 2025, of the Catawba County Board of Education. I seek a motion to close the meeting.
Make a motion, we close the meeting.
A second.
Everybody else.
Any further discussion? Show of hands for approval. That is unanimous.